Hello everyone, welcome to Downtown Tailoring. In today's video we are gonna finish in a very fast way the blouse I promised you with the shearing effect, and I'm gonna show you as well how to make a smock effect with the sewing machine. So let's go! This is the panel I have, and still I'm not so sure what I wanna make. Something very easy to make is to put another elastic on top and make some sort of a strapless top. But now that I put my panel this way, I got an idea. I'm gonna make another panel exactly the same that will be my back piece, and I'm gonna pin them together to just drape a blouse over the mannequin. I'm cutting the top part until the collar. Remember that when you are draping, you have to consider that you have a flat fabric over a shaped surface. So you have to kind of play with that. I'm marking the collar, I'm marking the neckline, then I'm gonna go to my table to sort of stabilize the pattern. I mark all my pins so I can remove them. Then I'm gonna fold my fabric by the center front and the center back to redraw my marks. I noticed that my center was shifted, so I'm shifting neckline. Therefore, I have to shift as well my shoulders. Then I'm gonna use my ruler to make those lines right. And of course, I make sure that the center front will start completely perpendicular to the center, and it will curve up right away. When I'm cutting it, I'm eyeballing the seam allowance. We aren't doing anything too sophisticated here, and I'm gonna finish cutting everything. This is fun and fast, and it won't take you any time to do it. I have my two pieces and I just have to join everything together. And I'm gonna start with the shoulders. As I am in a lazy mode, I decided to do French seam at the shoulders. I've done many videos about French seam, and I decided to do the same with the side seams. But in this case, it's as well very important because it will encapsulate better the loose elastic thread. With the neckline, I'm gonna just finish it with the plastic elastic. This way is so easy. I sew the elastic to the edge, then I search to clean that edge, and then I go back to my sewing machine and fold and sew. I have a short video about it. I'm gonna link it in the description box. And here you go. This is my easy blouse. Look how nice the shearing effect looks. You can finish the hem with a serger rolling hem. Notice how clean the neckline looks. But what I really wanted to show you today is the machine's smock effect. And I'm gonna use this time a very thin cotton. And as I did before, I'm gonna mark a parallel line from the edge. This time I'm gonna make the other lines at 5/8 of the inch instead of 3/8. It is your design, so you choose how much distance you want between your lines. I'm making 7 parallel lines as I did before, and in this case I'm gonna use regular thread in my bobbin machine. I already fixed the tension, so I have the regular tension in my bobbin, and I'm gonna use at the top as well a regular thread, but in this case I will loosen up the tension on the needle, and I'm gonna as well use the stitch as long as I can. Then I'm gonna make my lines following the lines. And because I have a very thin fabric, I should have changed my needle for a very thin needle, but I didn't do it. And you will see later that this was a mistake. I'm leaving a somewhat generous tail, about 4 to 5 inches at the beginning and at the end of each row. And now that I have all my lines stitched, I'm gonna flip my job to the wrong side of the fabric, because I'm gonna take all those threads from the bobbin together and I'm gonna start to pull them to gather the material. Do this slowly and with care. because you want to gather all the rows in the same proportion. After I gathered one side until the center more or less, then I'm gonna go to the other side and do the same. For me, this is the number one way to gather. If you prefer other ways, please let me know in the comments. I like this one because you can control how much or how little you can do it. In this case, I'm gathering a little bit smaller than my desired finish, and I'm making sure that the gather looks homogeneous. And when I feel satisfied with the gathering, then I'm gonna tighten up again the tension on my machine, and I'm gonna make a stitch to secure this gathering. You have to be careful and try to fit very well the fabric to your machine. And you have your fabric prepared to the next step. I wanted to show you as well the gathering foot that you could use to make your rows a little bit faster. You pretty much just need to make a regular stitch with this foot, and the machine will gather by itself the fabric. What happened with this technique is that it's way more difficult for you to control the gathering. When you pull the thread, by the contrary, you can gather and ungather as much as you want. Now I'm gonna take my domestic machine and I'm gonna choose some sort of decorative and elastic stitch at the same time. Any of those will do the job. And if you want your thread to be more noticeable, you can get yourself a double-eye needle. In that case, you will use 2 threads and you will thread each in one of the needle eyes. That way, one thread gets on top of the other and it looks a little bit more like a top stitch. But you honestly don't need that to do that job. I'm gonna use just a single eye thread. But this time, I'm gonna make sure to use the same color thread on top and on the bobbin. And you know, we have talked about that before. When you are using your domestic machine, it's very simple. You just have to follow the numbers. I'm filling my bobbin, although this is the case of do what I said and not do what I did. I was too lazy to unscrew a little bit the bobbin winder regulator. Therefore, my thread was unwinded correctly. Well, it's okay. I'm gonna select my stitch. In my particular sewing machine is the number 18. And I'm gonna just use any other fabric, just to see if everything is correct. And it seems okay. And I'm gonna make a last try with the gathering that I really didn't want it. And I feel like everything is going as smooth as planned. Look at that, it's looking really good. Do you like to play with your sewing machine? I do. Now I'm gonna take my real fabric and I'm gonna make my stitch and I'm gonna make sure to go in between the gatherings. When you do that job, you have to be careful. Don't go too fast, neither too slow. Make sure to be securing your fabric and guiding it well through your sewing. I finished my first stitch and now I'm in my second row, and pretty much the rest is just to repeat everything. I have now 4 rows and I think it looks pretty good, but I think that one more row will be just perfect. So I'm gonna make my last row and I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. And my next step is removing the stitches I did for gathering. I have to admit that some of my colleagues really like the look of them and they just leave it like that, but I feel like it looks a little bit cleaner when you don't have them. So remember that the easy to pull stitch is at the wrong side of the material, and if I am careful enough, I just have to pull them one by one. The fact that I used 2 different colors made my job easy because I just know that I have to pull the white thread only. So I pulled them all, and now I'm gonna turn my job and just remove the top thread. It's so satisfying. As you can see, because of the fact that I didn't change my needle, now I have little holes that I hope they will disappear, but this is not really good. In the sewing course I did, I mentioned all these details that a sewist have to take in count when they sew anything. And my job is almost done. I will just steam it a little bit. Don't really iron because you shouldn't iron gathering. And here you go. I think I still can see the little holes, but you know, if that were a real piece, after I wash it, those holes would disappear, but better not to do them. You can make, I don't know, maybe a little dress with that. I'm gonna put it in the mannequin in the same way I put the other, but keep in mind that this piece was a little bit smaller than the other, and contrary to the other one, even if this one is a little bit stretchy, you cannot use it as an elastic as you use the other one. So I feel like a better use of it is on the chest or the collar, or to make a nice cuff in your sleeves. There are many uses. Please let me know in the comment what you will do with this. I need ideas, please. And if you find this video useful, please give us a like and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Bye!